Welcome to this opening session of 2025, where we're going to be setting intentions. I'm Julia Davis. I'm founder of the Yoga Teachers Forum, and I'm also founder of Circle Holding. And it's in both of those capacities that I'm here today. This session is a circle. It's an opportunity to speak and be listened to, and an opportunity to do some practices that we would commonly do in a circle context. And also in the capacity of Yoga Teachers Forum, you may be here because you are a yoga teacher or a yoga therapist, and you are wanting to set your intentions for this period. It is the start of January. Happy New Year. I find that at the beginning of January, that New Year's resolutions no longer serve me. What does serve me, and it serves me at the beginning of January, February, March, or I like to pick the start of a lunar cycle as well, is to gently hold in my heart what my heart's desire might be for that period of time. And that period tends to be a 4-weekly period, and I hold it lightly so that if that intention manifests, then that's wonderful. And if it doesn't, it's small, and it's not a wow, I've got to do this in 12 months. So maybe that's something that resonates with you. I'm an embodiment practitioner, a yoga teacher, so it really helps me to settle into my nervous system. When I'm hosting it helps me to do that, and also when I participate. So I'm going to invite you to do that now. I'm going to invite you to find your bottom in your seat. Take your eyes away from the screen, and if you choose to, you can close your eyes. And I have changed the poem that I'm going to share. I like to share poetry. And there's a book that I bought just before the end of last year called Growing Brave by Donna Ashworth. And it really resonated with me as a middle-aged woman. It might resonate with you, whatever person you are. And this particular poem felt very apt for this time of year. So settling your bottom into your seat, maybe closing your eyes or taking your eyes away from the screen. Allow your attention to come to your breathing. So having an awareness of the breath just below the nostrils, the cool air as it comes in through your nose, and the warm air as it leaves. And as you settle into your seat, allow your attention to come to your heart. And with your focus there, allow the words of this poem to float over you. And any words that resonate, you can allow those to sit. And any words that don't, you can completely let go. The Positivity Pact. Positivity is misunderstood. It is not the art of masking emotions, nor is it the practice of papering over cracks. Positive thinking does not work if you are whitewashing misery or editing your truth for easier consumption. To become a more positive person, you must make a pact with your inner child, to hear her voice above that of your inner critics and demons. You must promise to allow her to come forth with her intrinsic belief in your safe passage through the sorrows that stir your scars so. Positivity is not ignoring negativity. It is accepting it and then choosing to hope for better anyway. It is giving the same weight to the believing as you do to all the fact. And in the space between the two, remembering your pact. So very gently now, allowing your attention to come back to your body. Maybe you can feel your feet on the ground or your bottom in your seat. Allowing your attention to come back to your heart. And if your eyes have been closed, gently opening them now and coming into the space with each other. And for those of you who are with me live today, we're going to have an opportunity to share a little bit about who we are, what we do, and maybe a sentence or two about what has brought you here. And I'm going to pause the recording in order to do that. So having that opportunity in Circle to share a little bit about why we're here is a really important aspect of this intention setting session. And also it's an important aspect of bringing people together in Circle. Having the opportunity to speak very early on in the Circle process helps us to let our nervous system go. And what I did at the beginning was say, if you can share just one or two sentences, and that gives a container for sharing. Sometimes we go beyond those one or two sentences, and that can be okay, especially if we've got the space and time to do so. But being given parameters within which to speak is also something that's very nervous system friendly and works well in Circle. Okay, so now we've had the opportunity to introduce ourselves. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what the session is going to be like today. We are going to use our time together to connect to our hearts, to see whether intentions come up, and if we do, to maybe write down a little bit about what's come up from us, and then if we choose to share. The sharing element will not be recorded, so that those of you who are with me live can have the opportunity to do that without being witnessed by people who haven't actually joined us in the Circle today. I'm going to set the container a little bit for the Circle, and at the end of the Circle, after we've done that intention setting and we've journaled and we've shared, there will be the opportunity at the end to find out a little bit more for those of you who've chosen to come today specifically for a couple of reasons. You might have come simply for the intention setting, and that is a beautiful reason to be here. You might have come to sit in Circle with other people who are embodiment professionals or Circle holders, and that is also a really wonderful reason to have chosen to be here. You may also have chosen to be here because you've got a specific interest, and that interest might be that you're interested in the Circle Holders journey starting on Monday, or the group mentoring program, which starts at the beginning of February. And a couple of you have mentioned programs that we have in person, and there are opportunities to join us in person in March and in October. So if those are the reasons why you've joined us and you would like to find out about that, you'll have the opportunity at the end of our intention setting session to ask specific questions, and I will share any links that you might need to find out more about those. Okay, so our container for today. The intention for the session today is for it to be practical, for you to actually get something out of it. By the end of the session, there will be potentially an intention set. The way that I frame it will show you that there doesn't have to be an intention, but it's practical whether you set an intention or not. It's self-led. So you do what you choose to do in the session today. It's inclusive. What's my intention for it to be inclusive, accessible? Part of the accessible is I've got captions up for those people who find it easier to read than they do to listen. It's co-created. The session wouldn't be anything without you being here and you being part of the session. It's not a top-down me running something. It's co-created. The fact that we're all here means that everybody is part of what this circle is. So there is a level of confidentiality. There are moments where it's going to be recorded, and moments that are unrecorded. The unrecorded aspects of this circle are confidential. So that what that means is that you are absolutely welcome to share your experience of being with us. You're absolutely welcome to share anything that I say. But those people who have shared themselves, that is confidential. For those people who have chosen to share in this circle, the words that they say belong to them, and it's not for us to share. It's always the intention to be non-judgmental. It's very easy to judge in our heads, and it's not easy to turn that off, as the poem that I shared at the top of the circle might suggest. But we can monitor our judgments externally and what we say. And it is our intention to do that in this group. Ideally, the intention is for me to run a trauma-informed session, for me to make sure that this session is something that is as comfortable for you to be in as possible. And part of that is that you do take responsibility for your own needs. So if you need to turn your video off, you turn your video off. If you need to focus on something other than the words that I'm saying, that you do that. If you need the toilet, you go. Whatever your needs are, you support your needs first. And it's informed by your own teaching and practice. So those are the parameters within which this circle is being held. I'm going to just pause the recording for a moment just to find out if there's any other guidelines that you would like for the session. Okay, so now is the time for us to set our intentions together. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the opportunity to connect into our heart and see what comes up. And this is a practice I really love to do, and I love to do it in January. So if it is safe to do so and you are in a space where you can close your eyes, then do. If not, please do stay awake and alert, and you can listen to this recording at a later time. So please only do this practice with me if it is safe to do so. I'm going to encourage you to sit really comfortably. So if that means leaning back into your seat, then it's absolutely fine to do that. If you can feel the connection with your seat and the floor, that will be great. And maybe you can feel your feet on the ground or your legs on the ground, but really having a solid connection to the earth in some way. It can be really nice to have the eyes closed. But if you'd rather have the eyes open, then I would encourage a very soft gaze and not to be looking at the computer screen in any way. And then if you take your hands and place them over your heart, maybe one hand rests on top of the other one. And feel that place where if you just place your hands there, that's where the hands would go for the heart. And with your hands there, begin to notice what it feels like underneath your hands. So underneath your hands, you might feel a sense of warmth. There might be warmth in the palms of your hands. Or you might notice the gentle rise and fall of the breath. Taking a little time to connect to this part of your body and any sensations that you might feel. You might feel the material of your clothing underneath your hands. You might even be able to sense the beating of your heart. Noticing what's true for you. And as you connect into your heart, maybe noticing whether these words resonate. My heart is my teacher. I listen to my heart. My heart is my teacher. I listen to my heart. My heart is my teacher. I listen to my heart. Notice if these words resonate, and if they do, allow them to sit deep, and if not, let them go. Connecting into your heart. And with your connection to your heart, allowing the imagination to run free. And maybe your heart will begin to tell you something that you would love to happen. Something that you would love to come true for you. So connecting into your heart. And maybe a sentence like, I would love. Or I imagine that. or this is happening for me. And give yourself time and space for something to come up. And if nothing does, that's more than okay. The beautiful practice of connecting into the heart is more than enough. Noticing if something does emerge. Notice if you wanted something specific that you wanted to focus on before this practice, and if that's coming up, or if something else is instead. I would love. My longing is. And now imagining if something has come up, imagining that that is already true. Imagining that that is already true. That your longing, your wish, your heart's desire is coming true in this moment. What does that feel like? What does that smell like? Are you alone? Are you with others? Where are you? How big in an imaginative picture can you draw of this longing becoming truth? Is it really specific? Are you in a particular space and time? And this is for you. Very much for you. So what does it smell like, feel like, look like? Engage all your senses in the imagination. And now very gently coming back to your heart. Feeling your hand over your heart. Maybe feeling the warmth of your palm as it rests on your chest. The gentle movement of your breathing. You might even be able to sense the beating of your heart. And then very gently allowing the hands to drop to your lap. And if your eyes have been closed, let your head drop for a moment. If your eyes have been open, you can do the same. And blinking your eyes open, looking towards the ground beneath you. And then once again, not looking at the computer screen, but looking around the room in which you're sitting. And naming 3 things that you can see in your head. So I can see a light, I can see a tree outside, I can see my dog resting on the sofa. And then coming into the group together. So for those of you who are with me live, I'm going to once again pause the recording. So this is the aspect of the circle that is confidential as we do a group share. So what we did while the recording wasn't running is we had the opportunity to journal a little bit around that practice. And then once we'd had the chance to journal, I introduced the idea of lean speech. And that idea of lean speech is that we take time and space to sit with what we have written. And the journaling is a processing tool. And then see whether we can communicate that with lean speech. Everyone had the opportunity to share. And as this is a non-judgmental space, it wasn't a space where feedback was either requested, it can be requested, but it wasn't requested, and it wasn't offered. it was a space for sharing rather than a space where somebody else got the opportunity to say something about what was said. And that can be really powerful, to be witnessed rather than to be in conversation. This circle space was an opportunity to be witnessed with that. We're now going to take the opportunity to take those ideas, those longings, that heartfelt intention, or that space of connecting to the heart, and send it out into the world for everyone who's participating. If you're doing this with a recording, you can do this too. And we're going to do that by using sound. And the sound that we're going to use is the sound Om. And there's a way of making this sound Om that I was taught by my Sanskrit teacher, and I'm going to share with you now. The shape of the mouth is like this. Oh, so a real O shape. Oh. And when the mouth closes, it's to the sound. So it's like oh. And if I take my hand and make the shape, it would be like om. We're heading towards that close. Om. I'm going to do that 3 times. We're on Zoom. We make funny sounds. You can unmute if you want to, but it's fine not to be muting. So to be muted. So you're only going to hear your own sound. Well, you're going to hear your own sound, and you're going to hear my sound. We're going to chant Om 3 times. At the end of that, we're going to rub our hands together until they're nice and warm. Hopefully it won't take too long on this freezing winter day. And then you're going to place the hands over your eyes and gently draw your fingers down your face. And for this particular purpose, we're going to kiss our fingers and we're going to blow everyone's intentions out into the universe. Okay. So when you're ready, I'm going to begin the practice of chanting Om together 3 times. So breathing in. Om. Bringing the hands together, rubbing them till they're nice and warm. Gently cupping the hands over the eyes and drawing the fingers down the face until the fingers touch the lips. Kissing the fingers and blowing those intentions out into the world. Thank you for sharing this practice with me. So in the session today, what we've done is we have come together to experience Circle. I've shared some guidelines of Circle, and I've shared a few practices that I share regularly in Circle. The first practice was settling. So we arrived, we had a settling practice, we brought our nervous system into a place where it felt a little bit more comfortable. Then we had the opportunity to be welcomed into the circle by saying our name, where we're from, and a little bit about ourselves and what brought us here. Then I introduced the agenda for the day and some guidelines. And then there was kind of the practice, and the practice was the intention setting practice, which we've done. As we come to the close of the circle, what I'm going to do now is some people have joined us specifically for the opportunity to find out a little bit more about being with myself and Tessa for specific programs. So I'm going to share a little bit of information about those programs, and there'll be an opportunity at the very end, once we've closed the circle, to answer any specific questions. And if you've got questions as we go along, we've got a little bit of time there as well. So The first reason why you might have joined us today is because we've got the Circle Holders Journey. It begins on Monday. It is 1 till 3 p.m. UK time, so that's GMT. So whichever time zone you're in, then you need to adapt that time to suit you. And the sessions are bi-monthly, so they're every other week. And it makes a huge difference to being part of that program to attend live if you can at all. The Circle Holders Journey is for yoga teachers, wellness practitioners, coaches, a whole variety of people who would want to hold space for others in a group context. So you might teach classes. If you want to stand up in front of a class and teach a physical practice and then have people go home, then maybe it's not the program for you. This is for you if you really want to have talking and listening as an aspect of what you do, or as something that you're doing as a container in and of itself. And we will be encouraging you throughout the program to be working with your own groups as we go along. If you don't, then you will absolutely benefit from being in the experience with others. When you're actually there, every single session that we run is a circle, and you'll have a slightly different circle experience each time. And in addition to that, there's the opportunity to be part of a WhatsApp group and to meet with other people who are part of the program outside of the group. And there are numerous exercises. Don't get overwhelmed by the exercises. There are more than we have the expectation that you would complete in the time together. They're available for you throughout the program and afterwards. But we would invite you to dip into at least one or two of them as the time goes on. That's why we've got space between each live session. So there's space and time for you to do things if you choose to between them. If you already have groups that you run, then you're working with what you're doing already. And if you're starting from scratch, you'll start from there. And it's absolutely so that you're held not only by myself and Tessa, but also by each other. And you will be learning very specific things that you want to learn based on what your needs are. That's why we've got so many options, because you're going to pick the options that fit best with what your needs are. So, and that's a 3-month journey. Another opportunity to be with us is the group mentoring program. That's with me. Tessa's not part of that. And that starts at the beginning of February. And that's much looser in its context. There are no exercises that you have to do. There is no homework content that you have to fulfill. It is very much like the session today. You have space and time to dream into where you're going, and then in addition to that, you have me there, and I've been a yoga teacher and practitioner and business runner and self-employed woman for many years. And so when specifics come up that you need support with, I can address those specifics, and they tend not to be addressed, that they come up in the group sessions, and then I can address them with you outside of the group sessions. So what you want to happen happens in the group sessions, and then working on them happens in between. And that's something that the Circle Holders Journey and the group mentoring program have in common, is that it's really useful to be there for the live sessions. And then if you choose to, where the benefit often comes is that work that you do outside of the time that we have together. So the Circle Holders Journey is on a Monday, and that starts this coming Monday. And the group mentoring program is on a Thursday, and that starts from the 13th of February. So there's a little bit more time before that starts. I was asked about the in-person offerings. That's going to be relevant to you if you can get to the UK or if you can get to London. There are 2 opportunities to be with myself and Tessa, and these are specifically circle holding facilitation. They are full on. The one in London, I cook in my kitchen, you sit in my kitchen, you sit in my studio, you walk around the local, we go for walks together. It's very immersive. We're absolutely together for 2 full days. And it's not residential. So it's in London. So if you live in London, you can get here really easily. If you don't, then there is accommodation that is very easy walking distance from the studio, and we like to invite you to come out for dinner for us with us on the Saturday night, and that is in March. So that's an absolutely immersive experience. It is full on. I would, give yourself a chance to lie down when you get home afterwards. And it's more full on because, it's not residential. So you have to get yourself to the studio, and when we're there, it's quite intensive. It's all about being there and with us. There aren't really, that you can have tea and coffee breaks, but it's very, you'll feel that you're very much immersed in the experience. In October, we've got a retreat which is much more spacious. We're all staying together. Tessa and I aren't feeding you. We're being fed by other people. You have your own room. It's in beautiful surroundings. It's absolutely a training if you want it to be a training, but it's not if you don't want it to be. The residential one is absolutely, you can come and just feel like you want to be held by others. You might feel like you're holding other people all the time. And we chose October intentionally because it tends to be that time of transition of the seasons, can be a time where you need that support, you need that resting into things. We're going to be sharing practices that we have, like yoga nidra, opportunities to really rest alongside opportunities to talk and be deeply listened to. If what you're looking for is something very, very light, then on Thursdays, and actually this is happening tomorrow, I have the listening skills practice. It's a 1 hour session. It's £20 to come for this first session, £10 beyond that. And that is a 1 hour session where you learn specific listening skills, and it's not recorded, and you come and you experience it, just like if you've come along live today. You can do that. And then if what you're wanting is a very much an introduction to circle holding, you've experienced a little bit of what that's like here, but we run a full 3 hour session, and the next one of those is on the 3rd of February. So all the details can be found on circleholding.org. If you're a yoga teacher, you might rather look at the yogateachersforum.org. The group mentoring program is there, as well as on the Circle Holders website. Do feel free to contact me directly. You're welcome to message me. If you send an email to info@yogateachersforum.org or info@circleholders.org, you'll get hold of me and we can arrange a time to have a chat. I'm really happy to do that. And if you're here live, we can chat after this session has happened. Okay, so thanking you very much for joining me today. And what I'm going to invite those of you who are with us in person to do is to sit, ground your feet, close your eyes or have a soft gaze. Come into your heart and notice whether there's one or two words that come up for you as we close this session. And once again, as before, I'm going to pause the recording so that we can share without being witnessed by others who aren't here. My word is spacious. Thank you so much for joining me today. Do feel free to contact me, info@yogateachersforum.org or info@circleholding.org if you have any questions, or if you'd like to arrange a time to have a little chat with me about any offerings that we have that have resonated with you today. Thank you so much.